Welcome back, everyone. This is Mo Al-Sumidai, Chief Editor of the Clinical Trial Vanguard, and I'm here with Martin Helling, who's the Executive Director of the One Medicine Platform Program at Boehringer Ingelheim at the 2025 Viva R&D and Quality Summit here in Europe. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mo. Very happy to be here with you.
Excellent. So we're going to learn more about this One Medicine Platform Program at Boehringer. Can you perhaps tell me about what this program is?
Mm-hmm. So it's a very interesting thing because we are considered as a lighthouse program, because what you normally see in the industry is that the different vaults are implemented in a serial way. So you're starting with clinical operations, then you do a little bit of regulatory, and so it evolves over a period of time, which has also a couple of downsides. For example, if you do something in sequence and you recognize in a later deployment that you have made in the data model an issue in the first deployment, you can't change that anymore. So you need to have workarounds and everything that is suboptimal. So the One Medicine Platform Program is, we implemented 4 walls at the same time, so which never happened in the industry. So this is something that we with Viva discussed, and they were also in the beginning like, oh, I do not know if this is possible at all. So we implemented clinical data management, clinical operations, regulatory affairs, and quality. So all in one shot. So we started in 2022 on 4th of April. There was the official kickoff of our phase 1, where we tried to evaluate what are we going to do in which sequence. So it's like a program planning. And in September 2022, we kicked it off, and we had a couple of go-lives. And perhaps I will come later to it if you have more questions. And all 4 walls were live in November last year, so 2024. Successful in time, in budget. We had 400 people on the program. It was a huge endeavor and successful.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And why was it initiated?
The main reason, I think it's not only Boehringer. Boehringer is in a very luxury position. We have many possible products in our pipeline. So what we recognized, we could be faster in the submission of our products. So we have around about 20 to 30 products that we would like to have on the market until the end of the decade. We needed to be faster. We had an evaluation. We asked a consulting company, can you check, are we within the market standard or do we take longer? We figured out we took a little bit longer. And we said we need to do a couple of things around the processes as well as software. And the One Medicine Platform was one of the initiatives to increase the speed. So ultimately, it's all about time to market, because we try to meet unmet client needs. This is what we achieved also so far. So we did a couple of things. And I also can tell a little bit more about what we did in regards of paradigm change, because platform is not software. Many people think platform, oh my God, this is just IT. No. Platform includes processes. Processes include people, include culture. So we did a cultural change, because people were used to work in their individual silo, and now they are used to work, or they need to still, I mean, it takes probably 1 to 2 years to really change the culture of people. They recognize, no, I work across the whole organization. And the paradigm change was especially around the processes. Where do you have, I mean, you have some experience probably, Mo, in the industry. Where you have a competitive advantage? Probably it's in research. Probably it's how you bring your medications to the market, so it's marketing and sales. Is submission one of that? It's probably not a competitive advantage. If you have a very good standard, very good. You can't outbeat the market, the competition there. So this is what we tried. So we said, former times, business, please tell us what are the processes that we need to implement. No, this time we said, we use the Viva platform as the standard. So we said, whatever is in the platform, we are using. We are checking with Viva also what are the normal standard processes in the industry that we can use. So with some sort of success, because we always called it adherence process. Adherence means adhering to standard. We only had one customization in Viva, which was for the audit management because there's nothing was available. Everything else is only configuration. So Viva did an evaluation over the market, 17 companies in the pharma industry, and we are leading edge. Mm-hmm. So everybody is using many, many more specifics of their company. We are really very low, which has a couple of advantages. First of all, that is the key of delivering the whole program within 2 years. Second is, when you are live with Viva, what do you get? Every 4 months, a new release. What do you do with that? You need to test it, document it, revalidate in case you have something very specific. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you can use the standard of Viva. If you have the standard, it comes with the documentation. So this is also what tries, or where we try to reduce our effort and our time that we are putting in. So standardization has so many more benefits.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me a bit about what those benefits are? Do you have any data in terms of how this improved the efficiency?
We have already, I have to be careful because this is business. I'm more from the IT. However, what we see so far, the process efficiency was increased by 7%. Pure processes, there are specific aspects even up to 50%. And one aspect when I talk about platform is also we have now one data base or data repository that lies behind it. Before, we had 45 or 35 systems roundabout. We have replaced already more than 20 and another 15 will come very soon and will be decommissioned. Data quality, data health. So we require 80% less time to have data inquiries. Mm-hmm. So this is something like, wow. And also it helps with our landscape when we say, okay, we replace 35 systems with just one platform, which consists, of course, of 4 walls, but still, I mean, this is what we are driving for, especially in Boehringer. We have been very successful. I mean, it's a little bit excurse. We were starting 4 or 5 years ago with around about 3,500 systems that we had in Boehringer. Now, with always going back to standardization platforms, we are around about even below 1,000 systems. Mm-hmm. I think there we are also some sort of industry benchmark in the meantime, because we try to streamline everything we do.
Mm-hmm. Cutting it by 2/3, essentially.
Yeah.
That's big.
It's super big, and we are very proud of that. Mm-hmm. Because when you're coming as, okay, you're just mediocre, even a little bit bad, and all of a sudden, after a couple of years, putting really focus on the topics, you are more leading in the industry. Mm-hmm. It is the same with the Viva platform. Normally, Boehringer is more known as, in the past, we were slower, but now, no. We are now trendsetters in the industry for many, many areas, especially in the IT. So we are very, very happy about that.
That's interesting. And so normally change management, or really technology, is change management, essentially, because you're changing the process. Technology is nothing more than a more efficient process that helps to drive business forward. Yeah. And so what prompted you to use, to really strengthen the collaboration that you have with Viva and helping to drive that change? And how did you incorporate that with internal change management?
Yeah, so several things to that question. So let's start with why Viva. Mm-hmm. So back then we were looking, of course, at the overall market, but there is no real, very equivalent software platform available, very honestly. So we said, okay, we would like to have one data source. We would like to have really end-to-end one system. And the third driver us was the topic about innovation. So we are forced now, if we want or do not want, 3 times a year, we get something new. Besides, of course, our releases we would like to do. What we always hoped for, and now was just announced at the Viva Summit, or a little bit before, so I heard it from Rick Ranol a couple of weeks before, is like, Now we are getting inbuilt AI. We are getting agents. So this is really where perhaps even the whole game will change to a more significant innovation. It's not a little bit, it's not incremental, it might be really a boost. So this is one thing. The other one is change management. Change management is so important and also so difficult because, as we know, from one day to the other, the whole environment has changed. So what we did in order to be successful, we started with in the beginning with monthly sessions where we were talking to the users. What are the new features? What are the new processes, so that they are more aware what's coming, because we have a user community of 10,000 people, which is a huge crowd. Some internals, some externals, trial sites, and so on. Before the go lives, what we always did were roadshows. So we were going to the sites, showing what we have. It's like, oh, now you can touch and feel. And the third pillar, what we have, is what we called OM peers. So that is a very sophisticated key user concept, which we still have in place, where we recognize still people need to learn, don't very often use the system. If you use a system on a daily basis, after half a year, there's no question anymore. But if you do not use the system, like trial doctors and so on, not so regularly, you need help. We still have the OM peers in place, the key users, and so I think we are growing into it, the new culture.
And so when it comes to the evolving role of technology, you mentioned AI, and Viva was talking about earlier AI agents, right? What sorts of lens are you using to evaluate the implementation of AI? Because this is a heavily regulated industry. We have specific variances that we have to operate within when it comes to compliance. How are you evaluating the implementation of AI? Because everyone keeps saying, I keep hearing in this conference, oh, there's a lot of hype, but actual implementation has to be done very carefully and very well thought out. But I'm curious, what would you look for when it comes to implementing these novel AI technologies?
We are currently already implementing AI. So the OMP platform is only one puzzle piece of overall medicine, what we have. So OMP is like the standard, regular, everyday work environment with real-time data in it. Also with a couple of reports. What is not there, we have another area that we call One Medicine Analytics. These are the reports that you will gather that are currently not in there. Then we have a third piece, which is based on we call it BI Data Land. This is our environment where we store, other companies might call it Open Data Lake or whatever. So it's an AWS environment where we gather data. And we have use cases where we do with machine learning, with large language models, work on specific use cases. And our way how to deal with it, we are looking at the use case before we implement something, of course. And this is part of the evaluation of the use case, so that we stay within the regulations, what we require. And this is already existing. So it's also a little bit of an experiment, because we try out in this area something completely new. We do not buy anything from the market. We develop on our own. So we have a team that is really down in the technology and building this up. So this AI for us is also something new to learn. And we need to see, it was just announced how this inbuilt artificial intelligence and the agents work. You might have seen also that the other areas, then they would like to help us with other artificial intelligence that we might have already brought up.
And speaking of implementation, what are the top considerations for your colleagues at other biopharmaceutical companies to take in terms of your advice regarding implementation of solutions like Viva Development Cloud, and how can they make it a success?
I think we were in a unique situation. I think I alluded already about that we could do everything in one shot, because looking back, I think this was the perfect decision for us. many companies do not come from a greenfield. So this is probably more a sophisticated question for the ones who are building on top. Otherwise, I would say, if you have a vision, go for it in a bold way, if you have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So really, would you suggest, I mean, every pharmaceutical company is different. Their culture is different. Their systems are different. The processes are different, right?
Risk
is different.
risk taking. I mean, how
Yeah.
much risk do you want to take? Because this is more like a big bang. It's
Yeah.
more risk. It's more budget that you put into it.
I mean, you're
So it's more a
essentially
stick.
uprooting existing systems and replacing it with something else.
So if you are risk averse, you do not do that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't put that much money at stake.
Mm-hmm.
Only if you have really a vision and you believe in it that you can deliver it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, it's very tricky. It's very tricky to give an advice because there are so many parameters. For us, it was the perfect thing. And if you ask me, if you are coming from greenfield, go bold. If you are more, in quotes, brownfield, tricky, but evaluate what you can reduce. And if you have one system already, one vault live, and you would like to implement 1, 2 more, go for 2 more, because then you're looking at the dependencies between the different vaults. I mean, we were driver, and Tom Schwenger, the COO, also said something very interesting, just to remind the people. Okay, with Boehringer, we did something like the Lighthouse with the 4 vaults in one shot. That has never happened. But don't forget, we implemented in a partnership 3 connectors between the vaults in the same time, because we required it, because otherwise end-to-end it wouldn't have worked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was a real good partnership where we were giving also something back to Viva while they were developing their connectors between the systems, and we needed it. So it was like a good combination. And this was also in phase 1 really discovered, and that we are requiring this. And we were discussing that with Viva, how can we make that happen over the 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was put on their pipeline, on their roadmap. So this everything was in place when we required it.
Mm-hmm. And so looking forward to the future, what benefits do you expect to gain from your ongoing relationship and collaboration with Viva?
So again, now it's about innovation. It will never stop. So that is the good thing. It's not like Microsoft where you have Greenleaf and every day you get something new. So you can plan for it. But this is what we also expect. So it's bringing us forward with automation. This is something that we stated very early clearly. The AI is now some sort of surprise, positive surprise. And this is where we would like to go forward. When we are looking at the overall landscape, there are still modules that we do not have, applications underneath the different walls. So we are extending that. It's still a journey when we are talking about site connect, site payment. We are currently still working on these things to really make the platform bigger. The one vault we do not have at the moment is the pharmacovigilance. So when it comes to safety, perhaps that will be at a certain point also on the roadmap. But we really hope that we also still get with the innovations simplifications, because again, it's the end-to-end process that counts. And what we recognized with our 35 systems, they were highly customized. So they could do literally everything, but that reduced the speed in the overall end-to-end process. And now we try to simplify. Perhaps you don't need everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Martin?
I could continue talk for ages, as you have recognized, because it's a perfectly fit for the bigger picture that we have as a strategy for us as Boehringer Ingelheim, when we are looking at how do we bring unmet patient needs to the market, to the patients who really require it. And out of personal reasons, my mother passed away 2 years ago. She was suffering from lung fibrosis. And it was just the time when we had a medication that would stop IPF. So it was like perhaps it is on time. And so I know how important it is that you deliver. 6 weeks can make a huge difference. It's like every day counts, and this is what we are looking for, and this is what we are striving for. So, and if we would only deliver 1 day earlier, that might help people. So this is my personal take on it, and this is why I'm also proud to be part of the OMP platform program, why I'm part of Boehringer Ingelheim. Some sort of personal touch.
We're all in this for the patient, really.
Yeah. And this is the good thing. We are meeting here each other. It does not feel like a huge competition. I mean, we are all competitors on the pharma market, but we know, okay, if we have all the best standard, it's nothing negative.
Mhm.
Ultimately, the patients will have the benefit.
Mhm.
And this is why we exchange here and why we help each other. So this is why we create these communities at the Viva Summit, where we meet on a regular basis.
Mhm.
So I'm also very grateful that we have the opportunity now with the platform to talk to each other.
Beautifully
This is
said, Martin. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mo.
Everyone, Martin Helling from Boehringer Ingelheim, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much, Mo.